welcome to Vikings Rant. This is the last week of the NFL, Week 17 we're heading into, and our final game is against the Bears. A game that could carry very little meaning if it wasn't for the fact that we still did not have the first round bye secured, Dirk.
Very true. I am Dirk Ummenhauer, and the Bears are going to be the losers on Sunday.
Yes, let's hope. But we are coming off a very exciting and, semi-costly win against the Green Bay Packers, in which we shut them out for the first time in many, many years that I don't really have on the top of my head, but it was a significant number of years. And we really orchestrated our first shutout for a very long time as well. So very impressive game for the Vikings defense.
Yes, first shutout since 1993. I believe Green Bay only had about 200 yards of total offense. So very good night in which the Packer fans were booing their own team at home, and that is a very good sign.
And we always love to see those Packers get booed because they are the worst. And Dirk, this night was exciting for another reason, and one of the reasons that we, shut them out was because of our very great red zone defense, and more specifically, Harrison Smith.
Yes, Harrison Smith, not good enough to be a Pro Bowler apparently, but Smith in a big interception right before half, and then there were a couple more red zone stops on fourth down. One was a back shoulder fade to Xavier Rhodes that he covered very well, or back shoulder fade to the wide receiver. I thought it would, since it was Brett Hundley, I thought he was going to throw it to Xavier Rhodes, but
I think quarterbacks have learned to fear Xavier Rhodes too much to make bad throws to him.
Yeah, it was a miss. We had a couple other fourth down stops, and then Harrison Smith made that pick, the second pick of the game, to seal it at the end. But remember, Nathan, apparently Earl Thomas is better.
Well, I mean, that just goes without saying. He made the Pro Bowl, Dirk, and that's why. That's why he's better.
It wasn't because of Seahawks fans stuffing the ballot box.
No, that's not it. And you know what they say, the Pro Bowl is final. Like, people who are in the Pro Bowl are the best. Like, it's one of the most prestigious awards you can get as an NFL player.
Yeah, not an NFL MVP, just
no. Pro Bowl. That's neither here nor there. But looking back at the game, it's easy to point out Harrison Smith, but everyone on our defense turned in great performances. Trey Waynes, I don't think, gave up a big play the whole game. He continued to play well and is looking ready to go for the playoffs. And Xavier Rhodes had a huge game as well, stopping them almost every pass that was thrown in his direction.
Yes, including the one vividly in my mind was one to Jordy Nelson, where Jordy Nelson thought he caught it, but Xavier Rhodes poked it out and Jordy Nelson got injured on the same play. And
it turns out Jordy Nelson, not good anymore. Much worse than Adam Thielen.
Yes, and it was something the announcers even for NBC noticed. They said, "Oh, Jordy Nelson, look at his decline in his production." I'm like, wow, you guys finally understand he stinks.
And speaking of the announcers from NBC, I think my favorite part was when they said, and that is why Harrison Smith is the best safety in football. Because, it just made them look so stupid because he didn't make the Pro Bowl. So clearly he's not the best safety. So what are they talking about?
I don't know, Nathan. I mean, clearly he's the number one rated safety everywhere, but he's not in the Pro Bowl. As you can tell, everyone, by listening, we're still not happy about that decision.
And some would say we should get over it, but I'm not going to. Because I'm upset.
This holiday season, I have forgiven the very few people I need to forgive, and I have given out thanks and all that. I'm not forgiving the NFL Pro Bowl voters.
Okay. Thank you, Dirk.
I hope a lot of those people got coal in their stockings. But
another big component of this game, as we mentioned, we shut them out for the first time in so long, but we also sweep the series. And if we beat the Bears, we have gone 5-1 in the division this year, and so that'll be very good and bear very well for our playoffs. The last time we sweep the Green Bay Packers was in 2009, a season in which we should have gone to the Super Bowl had we not had Brett Favre choke it up in the NFC Championship game.
Yes, I remember. That was the last time I cried watching a Vikings game.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, our defense played extremely well overall. Even though we only got one sack by Trey Waynes that was kind of a fluke, it still shows how great our defense is. We don't need sacks. We got a couple turnovers, but we could just play sound, solid defense and still hold you to no points in your own building.
And, people say that the defensive line didn't look that good. They weren't getting pressure, but that was the plan. Once Brett Hundley showed that his desire was to run on every play like a complete idiot, Mike Zimmer says, okay, you can try to do that, but we're going to protect it. And that's what he did, and that's why the sacks went down, but the runs went down as well. So Mike Zimmer, let's just say he knows what he's doing, and it was good practice to get experience with the quarterback who runs, since we failed so miserably to do that against Cam Newton.
Yes, we have gotten a lot better at Andy Dalton. Not a great runner, but we still kept him in the pocket, and we did a good job for the most part with Brett Hundley, with the exception of one or two plays. But we did a great job
about quarterbacks who get out of the pocket. Hit them. Hit them hard.
Yes. In fact, Brett Hundley's 2 run plays were one of his best plays, because I saw an NFL highlight thing of Hundley's top 5 throws. 2 of them were running plays. So I don't know if that was throwing shade at Brett Hundley, but a great performance by the Vikings defense, but only a decent performance by the Vikings offense. I mean, you have to think in some part, Case Keenum only about 135 yards and that beautiful touchdown throw to Stephon Diggs. He missed a couple throws. You have to think the cold weather was affecting him, since Keenum had never played in.
And, Case Keenum has never really played a game in the cold before, as you said. So I'm sure that was a factor. But another factor was how conservative our game plan was. And it got to points in the game where you could tell, yeah, they're just chewing down the clock. They knew their defense was stopping it. They wanted to prevent further injuries, which we do have a big one to talk about. And they wanted to make sure they got out of there unscathed, and that they didn't give away any of their tricks, because the Green Bay Packers are an easy team to beat, as is the Chicago Bears. So they want to beat them in a very plain and simple way without giving away any new offensive tricks that they might be developing for, say, a playoff run. So that was also good of them to do that.
Yeah, it was a lot. Reminded me, it seemed like we were showing our 2015 Denver Bronco-esque playoff game plan, which would be score 20, 21 points, even though we scored only 16. You know what I'm saying? And then allow the other team just 10 or 14 and win close, tight games because of our defense. We did have a good running game, however, in the offensive line, I thought. Murray, 75 yards. He broke a couple big ones. McKinnon had a couple nice runs in there. And overall, Stephon Diggs had a nice game, which I think is the signature of the offense. You can look at the past 2 weeks. Adam Thielen hasn't had a great past 2 weeks. He's only had about 60-some yards on 5 catches past 2 weeks, I feel like. Diggs had 5 for 60. He picked up the slack on Saturday night. And then the week before that, McKinnon had 7 for 118. So it's a good sign to see that the Vikings offense, when you cover our Pro Bowl wide receiver, we have other options that we can go to replace that.
Yeah, and if you try to cover them, then we'll throw it to Adam Thielen. So it's kind of a tricky maze. And you mentioned how we have a cold weather game plan, and that would be probably the game plan that we would use should we have the misfortune of going to the chilly Philadelphia Eagles this January, which, given how they looked against the Oakland Raiders, I would say not likely.
Yeah, Nathan, right now I'd say the Eagles are a first-round exit with Nick Foles. I mean,
second round.
Second round, but their first game.
Okay,
but because the past 2 weeks with Foles, they have allowed 29 points to the New York Giants.
Which, that just calls into question their defense, which was, in my opinion, overrated the entire season. But that's neither here nor there. But they did allow a lot of points to Eli Manning and the Giants, who are awful. So, yeah, I can't trust your defense. And Nick Foles, I don't think he can do it on offense if he has to face a good offense that's actually scoring points on their horrific defense.
Yeah, and last week against Oakland at home, it didn't seem to get better, but they did get lucky sometimes. Opened a fumble, Carr had a couple bad passes, a missed field goal.
I was watching some of that game, and Carr just looked awful. You want to talk about the most overrated quarterback of 2016? There's your guy. I mean, if he's on the top 100 list this year, I will be so angry.
I don't
take his spot.
Carr's had a big downfall. Carr went from MVP candidate, possibly MVP favorite last season, to now he's like middle-of-the-road quarterback who you can't always trust. But yeah, Philadelphia's offense, terrible. 35 yards, I think, or something like that in the second half against Oakland's decent defense. Like, that's not good.
Oakland's defense has
especially
not,
when you're playing
by any stretch of the imagination, been good this year.
No, yeah. So, I mean, Philadelphia looks like a team. I don't even know if we'd go to Philadelphia right now for the conference title game because I don't know if they'll make it.
Yeah, no, I have serious doubts that whoever they play, which it looks like maybe The Rams?
I think the Rams look to be the 4th seed, so it'd be either the Rams probably.
I was watching.
Or that first wild card.
I found out this week that the Rams are benching Todd Gurley and Jared Goff and like a few other guys against a very, very hot San Francisco 49ers team right now. So I honestly think they are trying to give up the 3 seeds so that they do not have to face the Vikings.
There was actually an article written about that, actually. Very interesting point. Because if you think about it, the easier road to the playoff, to the NFC title game right now might seem like host the 5 seed and then play Philadelphia on the road, who doesn't look as good.
And then you're in the NFC Championship game.
Right, exactly. Now, I think personally that 5 seed could very likely beat the 4 because the 5 is going to either be New Orleans or Carolina. We'll get into that more next week.
Very, very likely to be Carolina because, let's be honest, the New Orleans Saints are playing the Buccaneers, who are horrendous. Yeah. Just awful. So bad. They are so bad.
Right. That could be a good game. I don't see the 6 seed beating New Orleans, which should be the 3 seed. But we'll get into that more next week when we know the playoffs. But right now, yes, I think that the Vikings, if you're sitting good right there, the number 2 seed. But week 17, you have to figure out your offensive line questions now that Nick Easton is out for the season.
Yeah, Nick Easton, what was it, a broken ankle or something?
Yeah, broken ankle, I think.
Broken ankle. He's on IR. He will not be coming back this season. Was not having like an exceptional season at left guard by any means. I mean, I think he was like one of the lowest rated starting guards in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. But he was very solid. And the thing is, he was our backup center as well. So now we're going to third backup center, Joe Berger, who arguably is maybe the better backup center. I mean, he was our starting center last year before we kicked him over to guard for the much, much superior Pat Elflein. But Pat Elflein has been ruled out this week. And so now Joe Berger will be our starting center. And there's a few things that we could look at happening, as Jeremiah Searles will probably stay in the left guard spot. And so with Pat Elflein out and Nick Easton on injury reserve, unfortunately, Jeremiah Searles is going to be our starting left guard for the rest of the season. But here's where it gets interesting. Since we don't really have a backup center, Joe Berger's going to slide over. He's going to be center. Joe Berger's a good center. So I'm not too worried about that. And then one of two things could happen. We could pull in the rookie Danny Isidora, and he could be our right guard, and we keep Mike Remmers at right tackle. Or what seems like it might actually be happening is we're going to swing Mike Remmers over to right guard and bring in Rashad Hill at right tackle.
Yeah, we could do that. I think we should just go with the Isidora Searles plan at guard this week. I mean, we're going to probably be playing our backups anyway. I don't see the risk of – I'd rather risk Isidora getting hurt than Hill, to be honest. But because Elflein should be able to play in that playoff game in 2 weeks. I think they would have tried to get him to play this week if it wasn't such a how do I put this, easy game. If this was like get into the playoffs, winner go home, I think that Elflein would play, but he's not. We'll rest him.
And you know what? I think it's good that we rest him. Hopefully he has these 2 weeks and he can get that shoulder injury under control because, good Lord, we know we need him for the playoffs. We do. He has really become one of the most solid starters on our offensive line, and he's just going to get better in the future. So it would be very, very nice to have him.
Yes, we need him out front blocking on screens. Of course, we need him blocking in general. Hopefully Pat gets well, and then we'll see Pat next week or 2 weeks from now, in the divisional round. But as we mentioned before with Green Bay, Green Bay will not make the playoffs. Even before we stop them on Saturday night, they can watch football from their couch.
Yeah, and you know what? They're going to be fighting for a winning record or a tying record against the Detroit Lions this weekend. So I will be excited to see them get their first losing record, and I will laugh on my couch. Well, not on my couch. But the back on the Mike Remmers thing, moving over to guard, that is something that they have talked about, how he might, with the emergence of Rashad Hill, if Rashad Hill is able to make another jump forward or say they draft a new tackle, they're excited about Mike Remmers moving over to right guard is actually a potential permanent position shift for him if that seems like it's a position that's going to suit him better.
Yeah, and Berger retiring, that's the reason why they do it. But I think I could see that. Remmers is definitely more of a run blocker than a pass blocker, so Remmers at right guard is not something I'd be opposed to. I think Remmers said he's played right guard, or not right guard specifically, but guard before in his career with Carolina. Is that correct?
And it might be something that's a better position for him. Maybe.
I mean, big run blocker inside. You have Hill out there at right tackle. Hill doesn't get their top pass rusher. So that's good. We keep Reef on their top pass rusher. Easton, Elsa.
You know what? Rashad Hill has looked good this season.
Who?
Rashad Hill.
Yeah, yes.
He has looked good. All right, well, now, Dirk, it's time to move on for a segment that we missed last week, but we will be continuing it this week. It is Nice Words with Isaac.
And now it's time for Nice Words with Isaac.
So this week is very exciting for my Nice Word segment because who I chose for this week literally is why I invented this segment. It's exactly what the segment is meant for. The segment is not meant for someone like Stephon Diggs, no offense, but someone who has respect already, people think are great. It's not for a big win that everyone already knows about. This segment was built for the unique player play situation that deserves a whole lot of love that may not get it right now. And I'm so excited because this week it happened. This week, my Nice Word segment go to David Morgan. What a stud. This guy is like a backup tight end behind Blake Bell.
No, he was never behind Blake Bell.
Okay, still, backup tight end. Similar to Blake Bell. They're on like equal playing fields, I feel like. And he gets some playing time, a good amount of playing time, good tight end. He does some good things. But turns out the last weekish before this game, he had started practicing long snapping because they want to make sure they had a backup. But you know what no one ever considers in the NFL? That your long snapper gets hurt. It's a long snapper. They don't get hurt. They're in for 6 plays a game, 7 plays a game maybe max. All they do is snap the ball, and no one can really hit them. That's kind of a rule. Like, they're very protected because they need to snap the ball. And so they shouldn't get hurt. Well, lo and behold, Kevin McDermott on the game, Green Bay Packers, goes in. Something weird happens, and he goes down, comes to the sideline. Remind me, do you guys know what he hurt again? I'm forgetting.
I think he dislocated his shoulder.
Dislocated his shoulder, yeah. Wacky injury. How does that happen to a long snapper? I don't know. But he goes to the sideline. And David Morgan's sitting there, and he's like, he'll be fine. He's a long snapper. A few minutes later, they're like, David, bro, we need you in. And he's like, all right. David Morgan goes in there and slays long snapping duties. I think it was 2 field goals and 3 or 4 punts. Very well. I mean, the first few snaps weren't perfect, but they got to the holder or the punter, which is everything you ask in a long snapper. And a field looked perfect, like he was an NFL long snapper.
Probably the most ripped one you've ever seen, too.
What?
Probably the most ripped NFL long snapper ever.
Yeah, that's true.
He looked absolutely huge in the center of that.
And nobody had really ever seen David Morgan. But now they were like, who is this random dude?
Well, don't forget when he caught the touchdown against the –
catch a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, but so does like the most like random players in the NFL. Like every once in a while, like there's a player that just catches a few touchdowns and they're not notable. I mean, yeah, he was relevant, but not like a star. But this week he came in and he saved our team. I mean, if he would have botched it and missed 3 of those snaps, a few turner fumbles, that game could go a whole different way. But he came in, stepped up, did his new job, and he did it dang well. Looks like now he's relieved from his duties, though, as we have signed a new long snapper instead of a new offensive lineman. We'll see how that turns out. But David Morgan is off the line for now.
Yeah, Isaac's definitely right. David Morgan did a great job. I'm not sure I quite agree with him that this was the moment he got recognized. I feel like him and David Morgan and I would both argue that it was probably when he caught his first NFL career touchdown. But I'm sure that he was very happy he was able to help the Vikings out in this way, as all players want to help their team out.
Yes, that's true.
All right, well, now it's time to look ahead to the Bears game. Isaac, you will have the pleasure of going to this game. What are you most excited for?
Well, you don't need to remind me, Nathan. Oh, I am just thrilled. I am thrilled. This will be 2 games in 1 year at the U.S. Bank Stadium. There is nothing more you can ask for in life.
The lights, the sound.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch.
Fire coming out of the ship.
What are you talking about? You guys are just saying random things here.
We want to get bombed with pictures from this event.
Okay, I can do that.
So much.
But I mean, I'm thrilled for a Vikings blowout. I mean, it's the Bears. All right, it's the Bears. Okay,
But without Pat Elflein.
it's the Bears, Nathan.
We should be able to beat the Bears without Pat Elflein. If we can't beat the Bears without Pat Elflein, it's not a Pat Elflein problem. It's a deeper problem.
No, I think we're in a good position. And okay, maybe it'll be a little closer because we have some injuries, but we should beat the Bears, and I expect that. And I expect to see a little bit of Case Keenum and a little bit of Teddy Bridgewater, which is the best case scenario. I'm going with my family. I love my family. Got most of my siblings going, and my mom and dad. And I have a brand spanking new Adam Thielen jersey. And let me tell you, I am a big Adam Thielen fan, and I am a big fan of my new Adam Thielen jersey. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to rock it. Because before, I was trying to rock the old style Adrian Peterson jersey, and that was a no-go. All right, double duty. Adrian Peterson is gone, and the jersey is gone. It was just terrible. So I have that. Also, I have an 8-foot body pillow. Considering bringing that,
Don't bring
my
the
shoulders.
Wait, what?
That would end very poorly for you.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm so excited. We're leaving tomorrow morning. Gonna head down there and watch a great game.
And, it's always fun to be in U.S. Bank Stadium because it is so large. It's just kind of amazing to be in such a gigantic space with so many people who share something in common with you.
Yes, and it's the best stadium in the NFL.
By far. And, they tried to say that Atlanta's was going to be better, but seriously, that stadium is crap. And I think their roof design did not work at all. I don't even think the things are able to slide out.
Yeah, it's a weird.
The scoreboard being up there.
Top.
The scoreboard being up there is weird, and the windows on the side are supposed to look like U.S. Bank Stadium, but they're not even as cool or as good.
They're not.
The next stadium that even has a chance to be as good as U.S. Bank Stadium might be the Las Vegas one.
You know what U.S. Bank Stadium?
Or the Los Angeles one.
You know what feature we won't see this weekend?
What?
The doors being open. Those doors are not going to be open, let me tell you.
You can say that again.
It is negative 12 right now in St. Cloud, which is pretty close to the city. So tomorrow night can be too much warmer.
Yeah,
I would like to say
a day in which you might have some thoughts about parking in the parking ramp and using that nice skywalk to climb over to U.S. Bank Stadium.
Yeah.
All right. Well, looking ahead to the Bears game, as you guys said, it's probably going to be hopefully a pretty easy one, though. John Fox looking like he's probably going to get fired this year.
Yep.
Fighting for his job. If he can win this game, he can increase his stock. He can say that he had a 6-win season, and he can argue better that he might deserve a job next year. So is that something to be nervous about?
Impressive.
I don't know, Nathan, because I think John Fox is out the door anyway. I think the only way the Bears win this game is we rest our starters, and they don't in the second half. I think Fox is out the door no matter what. He's had a couple bad seasons, including this one in Chicago. I think it's time for a change in that city. They realize that. I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Bears players have just given up on John Fox.
And I think I read somewhere that John Fox is officially now the worst coach in Bears history for how long he's been there.
Really?
For wins and losses?
Yeah, I believe so.
They did get their worst record when they were there.
I mean, John Fox is decent. I don't think he's a terrible coach, but he just hasn't built up program very fast.
Their records the past season.
Yes. That is another key point I'm going to be watching on Sunday. I'm going to be watching the Vikings to see if they win and lock up the number 2 seed. I'm going to be watching to see who gets the final NFC playoff spot in those AFC wildcards. And I'm going to watch to see if the Browns can go 0-16.
Who are they playing?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, they'll do it. No problem. And good riddance. I mean, they deserve it. They deserve it so hard. We literally asked one thing of them, to beat the Packers. They didn't. And I wish only the worst from them from this day forward. Well, I hope they go 0-16. I hope they keep.
What are the chances next year they again have no more than 4 wins?
I hope they keep Hugh Jackson. I think he is the reason that they are losing. I hope they keep him, and I hope they continue to lose every year because they deserve it.
Yeah, that city pretty much is just a sports dump with the exception of LeBron James. I mean, the Indians have had a couple nice seasons. That's probably like a barely window.
Dirk, how can you call that city a sports dump when in the past few years you've had an NBA championship and a World Series appearance in that city? If our city had that, Dirk.
First off, I said
you'd be not a dump. They have one bad team.
They're literally been to the NBA Finals the last 3 years in a row and are going back this year.
Okay, first off, I said besides LeBron James and the Cavs. Second off,
that's like it.
But you can't say besides because that's still way more championship action than we've gotten in the past 3 decades.
Okay, you know what? I'm wrong. It's early in the morning. Sometimes I say wrong things. I apologize.
Never speak again, Dirk.
I accept, Dirk, the fact that the Cleveland Browns, it's amazing. They bring down the city so much. I mean,
that's actually a better assessment.
They are failing their city incredibly from their standards right now.
I would say that's a better assessment of it, is that the Browns are so bad you feel like the rest of Cleveland is bad and the rest of Cleveland is not.
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment, actually. That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay.
Well, bold predictions and score predictions coming up. Isaac, these hold extra weight from you because you're going to want to see these bold predictions come true before your eyes. So, Isaac, what are we going to see this week?
All right. So, my nice words segment was David Morgan.
Uh-huh.
Well, David Morgan is no longer in long-snapping duties, so he can focus his entire day on tight end duties. And I think that's going to play out because I think Kyle Rudolph has been nursing a few injuries lately, and I don't think they're going to push it with him because even if we do get a bye, he's going to want to really get healthy because he's a key player in our playoff potential. So I think David Morgan's going to get a lot of opportunities in the tight end game, and I'm going to say that he gets a touchdown and 50 yards receiving. So a big day from David Morgan. And then I'm going to say that we beat the Bears by a final score of 31-14.
All right, Dirk?
Well, I look at this game, and it's hard to make bold predictions because I want to make bold predictions for a starter, but then again, I don't know how much the starters are going to play. But I will go out on a limb and say, as a team, we sack Mitchell Trubisky 6 times. And I think that's the same amount of points the Bears score. I say the Vikings win 28-6.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that this is going to be a big week for our young players. Say Danielle Hunter, I think he'll probably have 2 sacks this week. I think Trey Waynes will have an interception this week. I think that Ben Gadian will have his first NFL sack this week. And then moving to the offensive side, I think that Laquan Treadwell will catch his first touchdown this week. And that, along with a David Morgan touchdown, is my bold prediction.
Wow. I see it.
Wow.
Those are like 5 very realistic things. But when you take 5 very realistic things, the chances of all of them happening are much less. But
if I had to pick one out of that,
I think 3 of those could happen.
Laquan Treadwell catch his first touchdown and gain some confidence going into the playoffs.
I think out of those 5, I see the Danielle Hunter getting the sacks, Trey Waynes getting the pick, and David Morgan getting the catch. Laquan Treadwell is never going to catch an NFL touchdown. Just kidding. I will, but it's not happening this year.
Did you just see this?
Ben Gadian, I don't think Ben Gadian will get a sack.
Wouldn't it be awesome, though, if we made the Super Bowl and Laquan Treadwell's only touchdown of his NFL career is the one that wins the game?
It would be awesome.
But I don't think we throw it to him then if he's never caught in a touchdown because he might drop it.
but the defense wouldn't
He's
cover
gain
him.
confidence now. Otherwise, he's not playing that much in the playoffs.
The defense would be like, oh, we need to cover Diggs, Thielen, and Rudolph. Then Treadwell would be wide open. They'd be like,
But right now,
we
Dirk,
didn't realize that guy
Darius
was going to
Wright
be.
is a way better receiver than Laquan Treadwell for our team.
Yeah, I know.
And he's going to get
I
more
would
plays.
just really like to see
American
Laquan
dream.
Treadwell. Isaac, you could see this happen in live. You could see Laquan's first touchdown. How awesome would that be for you?
That would be awesome, Nathan.
Ben
I
Getty
have
in first stat.
never been as high on Laquan Treadwell as you. Also, I was never as high on Teddy Bridgewater as you. Love Teddy Bridgewater, but Case Keenum was the answer this year. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might have to admit that if we win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So wait, if we don't win the Super Bowl, you're going to say Case Keenum was just not.
It was not the right choice. Now, yeah, I'll say that. I could see myself saying that.
Okay.
But
So how much do you
we're
think
gonna
I'll see of the quarterbacks? Who will I see and when?
I think you see Case Keenum for the first half, and I think you see Teddy for the second.
Yeah, my
The
score
thing is,
prediction for this game.
Zimmer
Vikings
does not want to risk losing, I think. Zimmer wants to win this game, and the team does too, but I just think Zimmer won't allow any risk. So we need to be up by at least
I think we're up
2 or 3
28-10 at halftime, and we finish the game 42-10.
I think we're up
42-0?
21. I think we're up 21-0, and then Zim goes, well, they can't score 21 points.
Okay, I can see that too.
Is it
Either
gonna
way,
be
I think it should be a
42-0?
good game for our Minnesota Vikings, and hopefully everyone enjoys, especially those going to the game, like Isaac, if you should be so fortunate to join him there. Thank you for listening this week. I'm Nathan Schulte,
I'm Dirk Umbenhauer.
and I'm Isaac Logeman.
and we'll see you next week.